Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Jay and May English Podcast, the show that helps you speak English with more confidence every single day.
And I'm Mr. J. Whether you're listening on your morning commute, taking a quick break, or relaxing at home, we are so glad you're here with us today.
Okay, Mr. J, I have to say something right away. I was talking to a friend last week, and she told me she's been studying English for 5 years. 5 years! And she still can't hold a simple conversation.
That sounds frustrating, and honestly, that story is more common than most people think.
She's not lazy, she studies hard, but something is just not working.
That's exactly what today's episode is about, because the problem is usually not the person, it's the method.
Yes, and if you ever said, I study a lot but my English doesn't improve, this episode is made for you.
Today, we're going to talk about why the traditional way of studying English is actually working against you and what to do instead.
And if you stay until the end, we have a special vocabulary moment where we explain 5 really useful phrases from today's episode in simple, clear English.
So stay with us, because by the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly why you feel stuck, and more importantly, how to finally move forward.
And hey, if you want to improve your English step by step, make sure you subscribe to our podcast right now. New episodes every week, all in simple English, all made for you. Hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds.
Okay, let's get into it. May, let me ask you something first. When you were learning English, what was the hardest part?
Oh, wow. Honestly, staying consistent. I would study for 2 weeks and feel great, and then life got busy and I just stopped.
And when you came back, how did it feel?
Like starting from zero again. It was so discouraging. I felt like I was always at the beginning.
That feeling has a name. It's called the all-or-nothing trap, and so many learners fall into it.
You mean like either I study perfectly every day or I give up completely?
Exactly. And here's the thing. That kind of thinking is actually one of the biggest reasons people quit English forever.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about studying harder?
Not at all. And this is where things change. Most learners think the solution is to study more, longer hours, more grammar, more vocabulary lists, but that's actually the wrong direction.
Wait, really? But my teacher always said, study more, practice more.
Studying more of the wrong thing just makes you better at the wrong thing. Think about it this way. If you practice swimming on dry land, you'll get very good at moving your arms, but you still can't swim.
Oh no, that's so true. So what are people actually doing wrong?
Let's start with the most common mistake. Most learners spend almost all their time on grammar rules and word lists. They memorize, they repeat, they fill in blanks on a worksheet.
Yeah, I did that for years.
But then a real person speaks to them, fast, natural, with slang and emotion, and suddenly they freeze, because real English doesn't sound like a textbook at all.
It really doesn't. When I first watched an American TV show without subtitles, I understood almost nothing. I thought something was wrong with me.
Nothing was wrong with you. You just trained for the test, not for the conversation. And those are 2 completely different things.
So the traditional way is basically grammar first, speaking later.
Yes, and later usually never comes. Students wait until they feel ready, but that feeling of being ready never arrives if you never actually practice speaking.
Okay, so here's the interesting part. What should learners do instead?
Great question. Here's the simple shift. Stop treating English like a school subject. Start treating it like a daily life skill.
You mean like cooking or driving?
Perfect example. When you learned to cook, did you read a textbook about the chemistry of food before touching a pan?
No, I just tried to make something simple and burned it a few times.
Exactly. And you improved because you actually did it, every day a little bit with real food. English is the same. You learn it by using it, not by studying it from a distance.
Okay, but Mr. J, I think some people feel scared. Like, what if I make mistakes? What if people laugh at me?
And that fear is completely real. Most learners don't realize this, but the fear of making mistakes is actually a bigger block than grammar or vocabulary.
Really? More than not knowing words?
Yes, because if you're afraid, you stay quiet. And if you stay quiet, you never practice. And if you never practice, nothing changes.
So the mistake itself isn't the problem. It's being afraid of the mistake?
Beautifully said. Mistakes are how your brain learns. Every time you say something wrong and then hear the correct version, your brain remembers it. That's actually how language builds.
So we should make more mistakes on purpose?
Not on purpose, but don't run away from them either. Welcome them. A mistake means you tried, and trying is the whole point.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about the fear part, but what about people who just can't stay consistent, like they always quit after a few weeks?
This is where things change for a lot of people. The problem with consistency is that most learners try to do too much too fast.
Like what?
They decide on a Monday, I will study English for 2 hours every day. And for 3 days, it's amazing. But by Friday, they're tired, they miss a session, and they feel like failures.
Ugh, I've done that so many times.
We all have. But here's the smarter approach. Make the habit so small that you can do it even on your worst day.
You mean like really small, like 5 minutes?
Even 5 minutes is powerful if you do it every single day. Let me use an analogy. English learning is like going to the gym.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you go to the gym once a month and do a 5-hour workout, what happens?
You die. You can't walk for a week.
Exactly. But if you go 3 times a week for just 30 minutes, your body changes. Small, regular effort always beats one big explosion of energy.
So for English, 15 minutes a day is better than 3 hours on Sunday?
100%. Your brain needs regular contact with the language, not one big event, but small daily moments. A short podcast, 5 sentences of shadowing, a voice message to a friend in English.
Wait, shadowing? What does that mean exactly?
Shadowing means you listen to someone speaking English and you repeat what they say at the same time, copying their speed, their rhythm, their emotion.
Oh, like being an echo.
Exactly like an echo, and it's one of the most powerful ways to improve your pronunciation and natural speaking speed.
I've never tried that. I'm going to start today.
See, that's the energy we need. Now, there's another huge problem I want to talk about, the intermediate plateau.
Oh no, I know this one. It's when you feel stuck at the same level forever, right?
Yes, you understand a lot of things, you can have basic conversations, but you feel like you're not moving up, like your English is just parked.
Why does that happen?
2 main reasons. First, learners get comfortable with easy material and stop challenging themselves. Second, they use material that is too hard and feel lost, so they give up.
So it's like the material needs to be just right. Not too easy, not too hard?
There's actually a simple rule for this. When you listen or read, you should understand about 80 to 90% of it. If you understand less than that, it's too hard. If you understand everything with 0 effort, it's probably too easy.
Oh, that's a really clear way to think about it. So I should look for content where I mostly understand, but there are still some new things?
Perfect. That zone is where real learning happens. Your brain is comfortable enough to follow the meaning, but still meeting new words and phrases in context.
And learning in context, that's important, right? Not just memorizing a word alone?
This is one of the most important points in the whole episode. Single words alone are very hard to remember, but phrases stick.
You mean like, instead of learning the word run, I learn run a business or run out of time?
Exactly. And then you write 2 or 3 personal sentences using that phrase, something from your own life. Your brain connects the new language to your own story, and that makes it stick much longer.
That's so different from how I learned in school. We just had long lists of words to memorize.
And how many of those words do you still remember?
Almost none. Okay, I see the point.
Now, here's a tip that sounds simple but is incredibly powerful. Create one real English moment every week.
What do you mean by real?
Something that actually communicates. Send a voice message in English to a friend. Write a comment on a YouTube video in English. Have a short online conversation with someone from another country. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is real communication.
Oh, I like that. Because sometimes people are so afraid of making it perfect that they never send anything at all.
Done is better than perfect. Always, especially in language learning.
Okay, Mr. J, I have one more question. What about motivation? Because sometimes people study not because they want to, but because they have to, like for work or for a test.
That's a very important distinction. Studying because of external pressure, a boss, an exam, or requirement, works for a short time, but when that pressure disappears, motivation disappears with it.
So what keeps people going long term?
A personal why, a reason that belongs to you. Maybe it's to connect with people from other cultures. Maybe it's to watch your favorite shows without subtitles. Maybe it's to feel confident when you travel.
So the why has to feel real and personal, not just my company wants me to.
Exactly. When your why is personal, English becomes something you want to do, not something you have to do. And that changes everything.
I think my personal why was I wanted to understand people from all over the world, not just read about them, actually talk to them.
And look at you now. That why brought you here.
It really did. Okay, I think I need to write all of this down. Before we do the vocabulary moment, can you give us one final, simple action that someone can take today?
Yes, here it is. Choose one tiny English habit and do it today. Just one. It can be 5 minutes of listening. It can be writing 3 sentences in English about your day. It can be shadowing 5 sentences from a podcast.
Just one thing?
Just one thing. Start so small that it feels almost too easy, because small and consistent will always beat big and inconsistent.
I love that. Okay, everyone, it's time for the part you've been waiting for, the vocabulary moment.
Let's go through 5 phrases from today's episode. All of them are useful in real life and real conversations.
First phrase, burn out.
Burn out means to feel completely tired and lose your energy because you pushed yourself too hard for too long. Example, I tried to study English for 3 hours every night and I burned out after 2 weeks.
Oh yes, I have burned out so many times. Okay, second phrase, stick with it.
Stick with it means to keep doing something even when it gets difficult or boring. Example, your English will improve if you stick with it for a few months.
Good one. Third phrase, hit a plateau.
Hit a plateau means to reach a point where you stop feeling any progress even though you are still working. Example, I hit a plateau at intermediate level and felt like my English was frozen.
I've definitely felt that. Okay, fourth phrase, all or nothing.
All or nothing describes a way of thinking where you do something perfectly or you do nothing at all. Example, my all or nothing mindset made me quit every time I missed one study day.
That one is so real. And the fifth phrase?
Real world English. This means the way people actually speak in everyday life, with natural speed, casual words, and sometimes incomplete sentences. Example, watching street interview videos helped me understand real-world English, not just textbook dialogues.
I love that one, because real-world English is so different from classroom English, right?
So different. And the faster you get comfortable with real-world English, the faster you start to feel truly fluent.
Okay, let me try to summarize what we talked about today in my own words. So, most people quit English not because they're bad at languages, but because their method doesn't work. They study grammar and word lists, but don't use English in real life. They try to study too much at once and burn out. They're afraid of making mistakes, so they never actually speak.
Beautifully done.
And the solution is treat English like a daily life skill. Do small habits every day, find the right level of content, learn phrases, not just single words, and most importantly, find your personal why.
I'll add just one final thing. Be kind to yourself. Language learning is not a race. Every small step forward is a real win. And the learners who succeed are not the smartest ones. They're the ones who never give up.
That is so well said. Okay, everyone, before we go, we have a question for you. We'd love to know, what is your personal why for learning English? Why does it matter to you?
Leave your answer in the comments. We read every single one, and your answer might inspire someone else who is just starting their journey.
And if this episode helped you, please share it with one friend who is also learning English. You might be the reason they keep going.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Keep going, keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone, and remember, your English is growing every single day, even when you can't see it yet. See you next time.